My name is Cesar, Tretyakova, and I'm originally from Rwanda. And I'm a first-year PhD student from Department of Pharmacology. And the reason that I chose Tretyakova lab aligns with the reason why I wanted to study molecular basis of different diseases in general. So I chose Minnesota, and then within the Minnesota community, I was looking for a lab specifically with the resources, with the expertise in the area that I was interested in. And I found out that Tretyakova lab is a very amazing place for that. They have special, unique instrumentations where we can ask unanswered questions in the field. Then my area basically of focus in Tretyakova lab lies within the DNA protein cross-links. We are looking at the DNA damage and its effects, its biological implications and different pathogenesis like cancer or like Alzheimer's disease. Those are really pathologies that are really killing a lot of people, and it makes sense if we can dig deeper using the instrument. We can then not only develop new therapeutics and develop new therapeutic targets, but we can also develop biomarkers. We can figure out how can we tell and how long people are exposed to these types of agents. You talk about smoking, you talk about different water contaminants, you talk about different agents in the environment that are really causing the disease, but there isn't that link between the agents and the disease. So we want to unravel that mystery, and I found out that the Tretyakova lab is a very amazing space to do that, especially with the cast of supporting people, supporting senior scientists, senior researchers, postdoc, other PhD students. It's a really beautiful combination of factors that I think would lead to successful grad student or even research as a career. That's probably my motivation to join the lab. I think that for the style of Tretyakova as a PI, as a principal investigator, she's really, I would say, understanding. She has a way of combining keeping high standards for her students, but also understanding that there is also personal side to the research. So she has a way to not only keep track of your professional development, but also trying to build camaraderie and then trying to build friendship, because she understands that those sides are inseparable. When you are stable, when you feel safe to voice your opinion, to discuss science, to discuss personal topics, it really benefits a lot of, it brings a lot of energy and a lot of innovation and creativity to the research when you can feel that way in the lab. So I feel really at home, and I think it's a great space. And that would be also the probably my advice or my recommendation for students considering to join grad school or on the quest of looking for labs. I think I was there at some point. I was really looking at myself and say, what am I really interested in? Do I really care about these molecules and details if I don't see the bigger picture? For me, that was no, because I wanted an area that focuses on human health, and Tretyakova lab is absolutely space for that. We look at different exposures that people are exposed to on a daily basis and try to figure out how they are connected to diseases like cancer and other devastating disease. And that focus on human health is very attractive. So I would say if you're a student considering different labs, and you have many options, I suppose, just look for a lab where your curiosity will be satisfied. What are you genuinely curious about? Do you want to help society? Do you want to have an impact on community of disease patients in different areas? Focus on that. Focus on translationability of a lab. Focus on the lab environment. Focus on the nature of PI. How do they mentor? Their style. Those factors I think will prove to be right. And when you find that right environment, I would say you will find it immediately. It won't take longer, to realize that you're in great space to grow as a scientist, but also to have a shot on a career if you want to join research, a company, government. It really doesn't matter for Tretyakova lab, because what I realized after a couple months in a lab so far is that the skills and the package that they give you can be valuable in different areas. You learn about troubleshooting, you learn about problem solving. Now we are asking questions that haven't been asked before in the science. So of course that's gonna come with new challenges, because what we thought we can detect in the environment, let's say you wanna, let's take it for an example. Let's take an example of like detecting transition metal in water that people are drinking nowadays. We may think that we have the right instrument, as I said earlier, we have mass spectrometry, we have different expertise, organic synthesis, we can make anything you want. But sometimes these transition metal, in nature, it cannot be detected because it's occurring at such a low levels, even though it's connected to disease, but its levels are not detectable by our instruments. That's a challenge that can come up with a new experimental design. But even though those challenges can come up, we have a way to kind of then troubleshoot with the resources that we have and see if we can find an alternative. I think that's a one example that I could come up with among many others, where we are trying to do something new here, something creative and something innovative. We're gonna meet challenge that's inevitable, but I guarantee you, with the supporting environment, supporting research and the discussions, and the time you have with the Tretyakova as very expert PI in this field, I guarantee you, you're gonna find answers and new directions for the research. So it makes the whole journey exciting and amazing to come here every morning and wake up excited to do something innovative and hopefully contribute to the science development in the field. I think within Tretyakova lab, there's uniqueness. I think what makes it special, at least from what I've already experienced in a few months within the lab, is that we have the resources that we need. Like, you can get any type of equipment, you can get access to any type of collaboration. We collaborate a lot with other scientists. Any type of question, any type of curiosity, you are sure that people are there to help you, to guide you, to refine it in a way that can be experimentally measured or experimentally followed through. So I think that's one thing. Secondly, I think the expertise that Tretyakova has within this field, as a PI for over 20 years, doing this type of research. She knows what it takes to be a successful graduate student or successful research. And that, with instrumentation and resources, I think it's a perfect recipe for the successful research career, if you happen to go that route. So when it comes to my plans, I'm the first year student. I'm keeping the doors open a little bit for both academia or industry or government. I think in my area of focus, as far as my plans are concerned, I'm really interested in looking at DNA protein crosslinks side of project. Again, this is an innovative field. It's been only 10 years since this field has evolved to be exciting field where researchers are trying to spend more resources and time investigating the connection between these DNA damaged agents and the different diseases like cancer that are really, really devastating. So as far as my destinations or aspirations are concerned, I would say it's kind of 50-50 in each side, but I definitely like to be in academic environment, gaining those connections and attending different conferences so that I can build career either in academia or industry. What I'm focusing on now is just, can you try to get handle of those skills that are necessary? Are you improving in the way you troubleshoot? How are you critically thinking through a problem? University of Minnesota is a great place. I remember when I was in undergrad, starting the process of application, I remember applying to different spaces, but I think through interviews and through connection with the faculty members here, there is a sense of collaboration that I got, like as I went through these interviews. You would think they have like open door policy. They have a way that they connect you to different people through conferences, like regular, attentive meetings where you're supposed to meet different professionals, not only worldwide, but also within specific field that you want to join. And that sense of collaboration, it was really a key, because I was definitely interested in the research that's going on here. I was interested in exploring, bigger city. I was coming from a smaller city in Nebraska, Lincoln, which is pretty small compared with the Minneapolis and St. Paul, and there's a lot to do outdoors. Yes, I was really, really interested in those things, but necessarily as a grad student, I think the focus was, can you imagine yourself doing a research that you really love, you really like, within an environment that helps you grow? I think that's the priority that was on my list, and I was so lucky to find that Minnesota, as I thought before. That's how I found it. Great place, great mentors, seeking to improve you as a scientist collectively, understanding where you come from. I don't come from a background of pharmacology, I come from a different background, but I was welcomed. There's a sense of welcome, there's a sense that, they care about how is your critical thinking growing, how's your troubleshooting growing, that you can even apply that to different scenarios. But it's not necessarily you gotta come from this specific background. So I think it's special with the University of Minnesota how people are. People, such nice people, such collaborating people, sense of community here, sense of diversity and inclusion. I think that's another big thing, which I really found out after spending a couple months or a couple weeks here. So I really, really like, being here, and probably considering staying here for a while.